But was there a kind of Damascene conversion, a moment when you suddenly thought, this is what I want to do?
When the check came in, I think, probably. There weren't many checks elsewhere, and it was quite apparent that it was already, the seeds were already being sown of a time in which you couldn't any longer just make your living singing oratorio and leader recitals in Ipswich. And I say Ipswich because people did. I mean, including Schwarzkopf in Los Angeles, that was part of the routine. But being a lyric baritone as well, the oratorio repertoire was limited to me. I wasn't happy with Bach. Beethoven, forget. I mean, it wasn't for my kind of voice. Mozart Requiem, not really. Nelson Masses of Haydn, no, can't do that. So I had to find another way of doing it, and it was the realization. I think that was how it came about. Of the more I immersed myself in opera, the more I realized that this was my métier. Both vocally and histrionically. That's how it happened.
James Lockhart spotted you, took you under his wing in a way.
Yes.
How important was he?
Hugely important. James was or Jimmy was a professor at the Royal College and a coach and conductor here. And so I used to come here and work with him on a few occasions across the road in 45. And he gave me the basics of how to mark up your score. I come in on page 13, and then the next time you come in. So everyone learns to do this, and we all mark up our scores in that way. I learned that, the basics of Italian and some German, and it went on from there. And then he'd just become director of Welsh National Opera and asked me to audition for them, which I did. And I think he put a word in for me and said the potential is reasonable. And they gave me a couple of understudies. Shelkalov in Boris Godunov was the first one, I think. And then I went on a little winter tour with them and did a small role in Traviata and got one performance of Figaro, and that was it. I went to Glyndebourne that following summer, got some more experience, and then Welsh National gave me a contract, offered me a contract, huge contract, £35 a week.
But is someone like Lockhart absolutely central to all singers' success? Sort of someone who spots something, understands, nourishes, is the kind of shoulder that you can lean on, but also the critical voice too?
Ideally, yes, it is. I mean, there's one in many people's lives. It's not in everyone's life, but certainly I never got any bad advice from Jimmy Lockhart. He gave me really good advice. You know, bearing in mind that he'd seen me as, I'm not even sure he saw me as Figaro. He didn't, because he didn't. It was Richard Armstrong that conducted the Figaro in Wrexham. That was my debut as Figaro in the Technical College, I think it was. And then it's a glamorous life. And then they gave me the Barber. In fact, they gave me Fiorello first. And forgot to tell me that they'd moved me up from Fiorello to the Barber. That's a considerable move. And I said, I don't think I can do this. And he said, I wouldn't ask you to do it if I didn't think you could do it. And then he gave me Papageno, and I said, I don't think I can do this. He said, I wouldn't give you this if I didn't think you could do it. And then they gave me Billy Budd, and I said, I think this is too big for me. It's not too big for you. I wouldn't give. And that was the way. But I've always been like that. I'm not sure that Faninal is right for me, but there we are. But you know, you often hear of companies that swallow up singers and wear them out and finish them off and kill them. That never happened with me. He nurtured me, and the company nurtured me, and it was good. It was excellent.
It was a very special company.
It was wonderful. Yes. I mean, it was going down the drain at any particular moment. We thought we were bankrupt almost every week, and where was the next bit of money going to come from? But we toured all the time, or most of the time, and had a 2-3 week season in Cardiff occasionally. Otherwise, you were in Swansea or Sunderland or Manchester or Leeds or wherever. But that was great. I mean, it was you were singing in different theatres, different requirements, and we did everything like that, and it was a good time. I love being in a company, and I said to Jeremy Isaacs, I wish they'd reinstate a company here many years ago, but no one ever acted on it. There were, at that time, I would have loved the idea of just being at home occasionally instead of away for 11 and a half months of the year, which was often the case. And there are many singers like me. I mean, there's a whole host of basses and baritones and what have you, and sopranos associated with this house, who'd done many years of successful international work in houses all over in Europe and Australia, America, and where have you, who would have loved the idea of being in an ensemble here, such as you still have in Munich, for example, which is why I like going there so much, and being part of that, understanding one another. You know, you're on stage with someone and you know what makes them tick, you know what their problems are, and it's that added thing that helps during the course of a performance. It's an undervalued quality, I think.
Do you think it allows you, if you work with that kind of ensemble, I was going to say take risks, I don't mean quite that, but to see how far you can change things, to make it fresh each night?
I think it can
because you're with friends and you know they'll support you.
Yes, otherwise, you know, you go to somewhere like Vienna, you don't know everybody, and you're on a knife edge anyhow because you've had minimum rehearsal time. I wouldn't say how short it is, but it can be extremely short, in minutes rather than days. Then you're not in a position when you're all fighting for yourself as individuals. If you're with a whole team, that you're on a squadron or a squad even that's on stage with you, all familiar with one another, you can try things out. That's fun.
Schubert's always been at the core of your recital repertoire, there hasn't it?
Yes. Well, you can't ignore him. You know, he's a giant. I came across Graham Johnson introduced me to an Austrian artist who died recently, a lady who devoted herself to Schubert and Schubert alone. She knew of his connections with Grillparzer and all the various poets and how he felt about them, the volumes that he used, blah, 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 the Tod und das Mädchen and everything else. And she just spent her life, this gifted lady with a pencil and a few colored chalks, drawing Schubert in these various guises, sitting in a seat whilst the skeleton behind him was part of Tod und das Mädchen or whatever. Schubert having breakfast, some little crescents, you know, the croissant things, and his pot of coffee, which I have. It hangs in my house. And she devoted her life to making these drawings, and I've got a couple of them at home, Schubert playing a guitar. And so it's an enormous preoccupation, and you know, if you do this job, you can't ignore, obviously you can't ignore Schubert, and he provides, I mean, it's an insight into your soul and your heart and everywhere else. I mean, there's everything there for you that you should require.
Is also the pleasure that these songs require of you characterization, that they are miniature dramas that can be enacted and characters can be found.
Well, I would...
Obvious ones like Erlkönig, but other songs too.
Oh, yes. I mean, I would say even more than miniature dramas, because you don't have the luxury of costume. Or makeup or anything else. I mean, it's entirely what you can do in that little nook in that piano there, and with your imagination, take someone on a journey, whether it's by a mill stream or whether it's through the snow or whatever. But that's the beauty of it. That's why I love singing Dichterliebe. It's so vivid. The images of Cologne, the images of a wedding going on down there, and my madness because I should be at that wedding. That's that woman. I should be beside her, you know. And so I mean, it's as good as any opera. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Let's hear a Schubert song. Let's listen to Der Leiermann, and it's Roger Villeneuve playing the piano with